My name is Jody Cross. I'm 30 years old. I'm a crisis counselor in Austin, Texas. My job is to talk to strangers over the phone during the worst moments of their lives, when they've lost someone they love, when they don't see a reason to keep living. And last week, my mother called me in tears. The first time in my entire life I'd ever heard her cry. 2 years ago, I was the one calling my parents in tears. My daughter, Olivia May, was only 6 weeks old when she died from SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. And I couldn't save my own child. At Olivia's funeral, only 4 friends showed up. My family's side? Empty. My parents and my brother were 12 miles away at a pool party. My nephew's 8th birthday party, according to them, mattered more than my daughter's funeral. They said, "She's just a baby, she won't remember if we're there." Now my mother needs me. And my answer was exactly 4 words. Before I continue, if this story genuinely resonates with you, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you truly connect with it. And drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is there. Now, let me take you back to what led to that day, because this wasn't one cruel decision. It was a pattern that repeated itself. November 15th, 2023. 11:43 p.m. I was sitting in my soundproof office at the Austin Suicide Prevention Center. Headphones on, notebook open, call number 63 that week. The woman on the other end had lost her son to SIDS 8 months earlier. She was calling because she couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't remember what it felt like to be okay. She said something I'll never forget. "No one understands unless they've lived it." I gave her the script, the one I'd perfected over 6 years. "You're going to survive this. I know it doesn't feel that way, but you will." She believed me. I believed me too. I hung up at 1 o'clock in the morning. 1 hour, 18 minutes. I logged it. Marked the outcome. Caller safe. Follow-up scheduled. I didn't know that 6 months later, I'd be calling that same hotline. Not to work. As a caller. Nathan and the proposal. I met Nathan in January 2023 at a bookstore on South Congress. He was a high school teacher. 32. Quiet. Kind in a way that felt rare. We dated for 8 months. I got pregnant in September. Unplanned. He proposed when I was 32 weeks along. We were sitting in my apartment, and he looked at me like I was the only thing that mattered. "I want this," he said. "I want us." We got married at the Travis County Courthouse on Valentine's Day, 2024. 2:15 p.m. ceremony. Total cost, $320. I invited my parents. They came. They stayed for 25 minutes, then left because my mother, Suzanne, had a charity luncheon. Before they walked out, my father, Randall, pulled me aside. He whispered, "Garrett never put us through this kind of embarrassment." I laughed it off. I didn't realize then that it was a warning. Olivia arrives April 18th, 2024. 4:32 a.m. My water broke. Nathan drove me to St. David's Medical Center. Labor lasted 11 hours. Olivia was born at 3:51 p.m., 6 pounds, 3 ounces. She cried softly, and I cried harder. I called my parents immediately. My mother answered on the 4th ring. "Hi, sweetie." "Mom, I just had the baby. Olivia's here." Silence. Then, "Oh, congratulations. We'll visit tomorrow, honey. Your father and I need to be at Garrett's deal closing today. It's a big one, $2.3 million. I felt something twist in my chest. "Mom, I just gave birth to your first granddaughter." She paused. "Austin Jr. is our first grandchild, Jody. This is our second." I held the phone for 3 more seconds before I hung up. The next day, I got a text. "Congratulations again. Can you send photos? We're swamped with Garrett's celebration dinner." I looked at Olivia sleeping in the hospital bassinet. I took a photo. It would be one of only 4 pictures I'd ever have of my daughter. The first 6 weeks. I took unpaid maternity leave. The crisis center doesn't offer paid time off. Nathan kept teaching. We lived off our savings, $8,100. Olivia was healthy, perfect even. Dr. Laura Brennan confirmed it at her 6-week checkup on May 28th. She's perfect, Dr. Brennan said, smiling. I posted a photo of Olivia on Facebook that night. Private album. My mother reacted with a heart emoji. No comment. Garrett didn't interact. My father didn't even open it. I told myself they just needed time. Maybe when Olivia smiled, or laughed, or said "Grandma," everything would click. I was wrong. On the night of May 31st, I put Olivia in her crib at 10:15 p.m. She was sound asleep. I kissed her forehead. "See you in the morning, baby." I didn't know those would be the last words I'd ever say to her. 6:23 a.m. I woke up on June 1st at 6:23 a.m. That was unusual. Olivia usually cried around 5:30, but the apartment was silent. I walked to her crib. She was lying on her back, arms stretched out. Her lips had a faint blue tint. I touched her skin, cold. My brain rejected it immediately. I picked her up, cradled her, whispered, "Baby, wake up, Mommy's here." Nothing. I've talked 180 people through loss. I know the stages: denial, anger, bargaining. But when it's your child in your arms, cold, still, none of that knowledge means anything. The 911 call. I dialed 911 at 6:26 a.m. The operator's name was Linda Voss. I know because I requested the recording later. My training kicked in. I didn't scream. I spoke clearly. "My daughter isn't breathing, 6 weeks old, no pulse. I need paramedics." Linda walked me through CPR. 30 chest compressions. 2 breaths. Olivia's body was so small I only used 2 fingers. 4 minutes? 6 minutes. The paramedics knocked at 6:34 a.m. 8 minutes total. A man named Steve Callahan stepped inside. He looked at Olivia, then at me. I saw it in his eyes before he said a word. St. David's ER. I sat in the ER waiting room, hands still shaking. Nathan arrived at 8:10 a.m. I'd called him from the ambulance. We didn't hug. We just sat. At 7:51 a.m., Dr. Philip Sanderson came out. "I'm sorry, we did everything we could." I asked if I could hold her. He nodded. They gave me 30 minutes in a private room. I sat with Olivia in my lap and sang the song I'd sung to her every night. "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine." My voice cracked on, "You make me happy when skies are gray." When I walked out of the room, Nathan wasn't in the waiting area anymore. He was outside in the parking lot, on the phone. Through the glass doors, I could see him. He wasn't crying. He was just talking. The silence begins. We went home. The apartment still smelled like her. Baby lotion, formula. Nathan started packing a duffel bag. "Where are you going?" I asked. "I can't be here right now. Our daughter just died." He turned, eyes red. "I know. That's why I can't stay." He left at 2:35 p.m., took one bag, left his wedding ring on the kitchen counter. I sat in the empty apartment. For the first time in 6 years as a crisis counselor, I thought about calling the hotline myself. But I didn't. Instead, I stared at my phone. I hadn't called my parents yet. I wasn't ready to hear their voices, but I'd have to call, because the funeral needed to be planned, and I couldn't do it alone. June 2nd, 2:15 p.m. I called my mother. I told her about Olivia. She said, "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry." Her tone was flat, the same tone she used when someone missed a sale. "I need help planning the funeral," I said. "Of course, sweetheart. When are you thinking?" "Saturday, June 9th, 2 p.m. Silence. 5 seconds. "Jody, that's the same day as Austin Jr.'s birthday party." "I know, but I can't wait longer. The medical examiner needs..." She cut me off. Can't you do it Sunday? I felt my chest tighten. Mom, this is my daughter's funeral. Her voice shifted, colder. Garrett spent $18,000 on this party, Jody. He's had it planned for 3 months. Can't the funeral home hold Olivia until next week? I heard her say, hold Olivia, like my daughter was a UPS package. I took a breath. I remembered my training. Don't react in emotion. Collect information first. I pressed record, the family group chat. At 6:43 p.m., I texted the family group chat. Cross family. Cheyenne. 4 members. My father Randall, my mother Suzanne, my brother Garrett, and me. I wrote, Olivia's funeral will be June 9th, 2 p.m., Weed Corley Fish on North Lamar. I hope you can be there. 8 minutes passed. Garrett replied, Jody, you know that's Austin Jr.'s party. We have 85 guests confirmed. Can you move it to Sunday? My father reacted with a thumbs up to Garrett's message. My mother wrote, Honey, we want to be there. But this is a big milestone for Austin Jr. He's expecting Grandma and Grandpa. I stared at the screen. Then Garrett sent another message. Jody, I'm sorry, but your baby, she won't know we're there. I read that line 4 times. I didn't reply. I took a screenshot. I don't know why. It was just instinct. Funeral home alone. On June 3rd, I met with Alan Moss, the funeral director at Weed Corley Fish. He asked, Will other family members join the planning? No, just me. He showed me casket options. I chose the white infant casket, $1,200. We went through flowers, service details, burial plot, total $5,830. Alan asked for a 50% deposit. I paid in full, credit card ending in 3391. He looked at me. You don't have to do this alone, you know. Yes, I said, I do. When I signed the paperwork, my hands shook. Alan handed me a tissue. I didn't cry, I just stared at the number. $5,830. I remembered Garrett's wedding. My parents spent $95,000. For mine, $3,500. And now, for Olivia, 0. Nathan's final exit. On June 5th, Nathan texted, I can't come to the funeral. I'm sorry. I'm staying with my brother in Houston. I need space. I called him. Voicemail. I left a message. Olivia was your daughter too. He never replied. On June 7th, I got an email from his lawyer. Divorce petition, irreconcilable differences. We'd been married 3 months and 18 days. I sat at my laptop. I didn't cry, I just opened a blank document. And I started writing. Between June 4th and June 8th, my mother posted 6 updates on Facebook about Austin Jr.'s big day, photos of decorations. A custom tropical-themed cake, $650. Hired performers, 2 magicians, 1 face painter. Total cost, $2,100. One caption read, Can't wait to celebrate our special boy. I saw every post. Facebook made sure of it. We were family after all. I didn't react. But I took screenshots with timestamps. On June 6th at 11:23 a.m., she posted, Countdown to Austin Jr.'s epic pool party. Grandma and Grandpa can't wait. Nothing beats celebrating life with the ones who matter most. Hashtag Blessed Grandma. Hashtag Family First. 47 likes. 12 comments. All congratulating her. I clicked on her profile. Not one mention of Olivia. Not one condolence post. It was like my daughter had never existed. Garrett's justification. On June 7th, Garrett called me. Rare, he usually texted. Look, I feel bad about Olivia. I really do. But Jessica and I spent $18,000 on this party. We've had it planned since March. Austin Jr. has been talking about it for months. You can't expect us to cancel. I'm not asking you to cancel, I said. I'm asking you to come to your niece's funeral. Jody, be reasonable. It's the same time. I can't be in 2 places. You're choosing a pool party over a funeral. He paused. Then, I'm choosing my living son over. I'm sorry, that came out wrong. Click. He hung up. I played the recording back later. I'd started using a call recording app after my mother's first call. Garrett's voice clear as day. Jody, your baby was 6 weeks old. She barely existed. Austin Jr. is 8. He has memories. He has feelings. I'm not missing his day for a sad ceremony that won't change anything. Barely existed. 6 weeks, 42 days, 1,008 hours. Olivia existed every single second. The final call to Mom. June 8th, 8:15 p.m. I called my mother one last time. I wasn't begging. I just wanted to understand. Mom, I just need you there for 1 hour, from 2 to 3 p.m. Then you can go to the party. She sighed. Jody, honey, you don't understand. We're the host's parents. We can't just show up late. People will talk. You're worried about people talking about you being late to a pool party more than skipping your granddaughter's funeral? Her voice hardened. Don't guilt-trip me. You're being selfish. Then she said it, the line I'll never forget. Jody, it's just a baby. She wouldn't even remember us being there. But Austin Jr.? He'll remember if Grandma and Grandpa miss his party. Your brother's milestone matters more. That's just reality. I didn't respond right away. My hands were shaking, but my voice stayed calm. Okay, Mom, I understand. Enjoy the party. I hung up. She didn't know I'd recorded the call. In the background, I could hear my father's voice. Tell her we'll send flowers. The flowers that never came. June 9th. 6 a.m. the morning of the funeral. I checked my phone. No texts. No emails. No flowers delivered. My father had said they'd send flowers. Nothing came. I called the funeral home. Alan confirmed. No additional flowers ordered under the Cross family name. Okay, thank you. I hung up. I opened my notes app. I wrote, Promised flowers, never sent, June 9th, 6:03 a.m. I got dressed. Black dress. I stood in front of the mirror. For the first time since Olivia died, I didn't cry. I just felt cold. Crisis counselor mode activated. I would survive today. And after that, I would make them remember it forever. Weed Corley Fish Chapel. North Lamar location. 20 chairs set up in 2 rows. 10 on the left for my family. 10 on the right for Nathan's. I arrived at 1:50 p.m. My coworker, Emma Hartley, was already there. She hugged me. Claire Donovan, my college roommate, drove 3 hours from Houston. She arrived at 1:55. Dr. Laura Brennan, Olivia's pediatrician, came at 1:58. At exactly 2 p.m., Alan Moss stepped into the room. Would you like to wait a few more minutes? I looked at the 10 empty chairs on the left. No, let's begin. Alan nodded softly. Jody, I've done this for 22 years. The size of the crowd doesn't measure the size of the love. Your friends are here. That matters. I took my seat. The chair next to me, for Nathan, empty. The row behind me, for my parents, empty. I looked at the white infant casket at the front of the room. Olivia was inside, wearing a white dress I'd bought that morning. Alone. 2:15 p.m. The service begins. Alan read Psalm 23. I didn't hear it. I just stared at the casket. I thought about Olivia's tiny hands. I thought about 42 days. I thought about the song I sang every night. You are my sunshine. I wanted to sing it now, but my throat was too tight. Emma squeezed my hand. 12 miles away, at 2847 Westlake Drive, my brother was cutting a 3-tier birthday cake. $650. Austin Jr. blew out the candles. 85 people clapped. My mother and father stood beside him, smiling. At 2:17 p.m., my mother posted a video to Facebook. Our special boy. Alan asked me, would you like to say a few words? I stood. I walked to the casket. I placed my hand on the white wood. I whispered, "I'm here, baby. Mommy's here." Behind me, Emma started crying. I didn't cry, I just sang, softly. "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine." My voice cracked on, "You make me happy when skies are gray." 2:47 p.m. The Burial, Austin Memorial Park Cemetery, Section 224B. They lowered Olivia's casket into the ground with straps. I watched it descend, inch by inch, 6 feet down. I didn't cry. I'd cried everything out at home. Now I was just numb. Dr. Brennan stood beside me, holding my elbow. Claire threw a white rose into the grave. Emma did the same. I was last. I threw in Olivia's first ultrasound photo. 20 weeks. Goodbye, sunshine. At that exact moment, 2:47 p.m., my mother posted her 12th photo on Facebook. She was holding a champagne glass, standing by the infinity pool, smiling, sunglasses on. The caption, "Nothing beats celebrating life with the ones who matter. Hashtag blessed grandma. Hashtag family is everything." Timestamp, 2:47 p.m. I pulled out my phone. I don't know why. Maybe I was still hoping they'd change their minds at the last second. I opened Facebook. I saw her post. I checked the time on my phone, 2:47 p.m. The same minute I was lowering my daughter into the ground, my mother was celebrating life with champagne. I took a screenshot. I didn't cry. I saved it to a folder on my phone. I labeled it Evidence. 4:30 p.m. Alone at the grave. Emma, Claire, and Dr. Brennan left around 4 p.m. I stayed. I sat beside Olivia's grave for 2 more hours. I didn't speak. I just sat. The sun started to set. A groundskeeper named Miguel Torres approached. "Ma'am, we're closing soon. You okay?" I nodded. "I just need 5 more minutes." "Take your time." He walked away. I looked at the temporary marker. Olivia May Cross. Forever loved. I stood. I turned. I didn't look back. Because if I looked back, I wouldn't be able to leave. I drove home. 18 minutes. I arrived at my apartment at 5:10 p.m. I opened my phone. 3 missed calls, all from unknown numbers. 1 voicemail. I played it. My mother's voice, cheerful, light. "Hi, honey. Hope the funeral went okay. We're exhausted from the party. Call us when you can. Love you." I listened twice. Then I deleted it. I didn't call back. 3 days after the funeral, I went back to work. My supervisor, Monica Ruiz, asked, "Are you sure you're ready?" "I need to work. I need to feel useful." She nodded. At 9:15 p.m., I took my first call. A woman named Angela, 52. She'd just lost her husband to a heart attack. She was crying. "No one understands. Everyone says move on, but I can't." I fell back into my training. You don't have to move on, you just have to move forward, one day at a time. She asked, "Did you ever lose someone?" I paused. "Yes, recently." "Then you know it doesn't get better." "It doesn't get better, but you get stronger." I said, "The people who love you won't ask you to get over it. They'll sit with you in it. If someone tells you to move on, they're not your people." We talked for an hour and 18 minutes. When I hung up, Monica came into the room. "Jody, that was beautiful. But are you okay?" I smiled. "I'm fine." I wasn't fine. But saying I'm fine was easier than telling the truth. The divorce papers, June 18th, 7:30 a.m. A process server knocked on my door. I signed for the envelope. Divorce petition. Nathan wanted a dissolution of marriage. No contest, no custody issues, because Olivia was gone. No alimony. Clean break. The reason listed, irreconcilable differences arising from mutual grief. Mutual, like Nathan had been there, like he'd buried our daughter. I signed without arguing. I put the papers in a manila folder. I labeled it, Nathan, Done. I placed it in my file cabinet, right next to another folder. That one was labeled Family, Pending. The 19 Days of Silence. From June 9th to June 28th, no one in my family contacted me, except for one voicemail from my mother on June 15th. Hi, sweetie, just checking in. Hope you're doing better. We've been so busy with Garrett's new project. Call when you can. Casual, light, zero mention of Olivia, zero apology. I didn't call back. I tracked it in a spreadsheet. Yes, I made a spreadsheet. Family contact log, June 9th to 28th. Total contacts, 1 voicemail, 0 meaningful outreach. Meanwhile, my mother posted 12 more Facebook updates about Austin Jr.'s summer activities. On June 22nd, pool day with our favorite grandson. Summer is for making memories. Hashtag grandma life, hashtag blessed. On June 28th, I got a text from Garrett. Hey, Mom's birthday is July 10th. Family dinner at our place. 6 p.m. You coming? No, how are you? No, sorry we missed the funeral. Just a casual dinner invite. Like nothing had happened. The journal entries pile up. Every night, I wrote in my journal. A therapy technique I taught my clients. From June 9th to June 30th, 21 entries. Each one started the same way. Day X without Olivia. On June 30th, I wrote, Day 29 without Olivia. Day 19 without my family acknowledging her existence. Day 12 since Nathan's papers. I counseled 31 people this month. I tell them they're not alone. But I come home to an empty crib, an empty bed, and an empty inbox. I'm the fraud. I'm the one who's alone. I closed the journal. I looked in the mirror. For the first time I thought, what if I just disappeared? Would anyone notice? I almost called the hotline that night, not to work, to call in, as a caller. My phone was in my hand. The number was already dialed, 512-274-7471. My finger hovered over call. 8 seconds. I didn't press it. I put the phone down. I opened my laptop instead. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I needed to do something, because if I didn't, I would disappear. I created a folder on my laptop. I named it Evidence. I started organizing everything I'd saved, some of it consciously, some unconsciously. Voice recordings from my phone. I transferred them to my laptop, backed them up to iCloud, copied them to an external hard drive, screenshots of Facebook posts. I renamed every file with timestamps. The text thread with my family. I exported it as a PDF. The funeral invoice. I scanned it. The attendance log from Alan Moss. I scanned it. 4 hours later, I had 83 files, organized chronologically, labeled clearly. Total size, 287 megabytes, stored in 3 locations. I opened a subfolder, voice recordings. 3 files. I clicked on the third one, mom_final_call.m4a. I listened. My mother's voice. It's just a baby. She wouldn't even remember us there. I played it 3 times. I didn't cry. I just wrote a note next to the file. Mirror line, use and climax. The timeline document. Over the next 4 days, July 2nd to July 5th, I created a 12-page document. I titled it, The 42 Days of Olivia May Cross, a Chronological Account. It included April 18th, birth, hospital, family's absence. April 19th to May 31st. 6 weeks of life, checkups, family's disinterest. June 1st, SIDS, 911 call, death certificate. June 2nd to 8th, funeral planning, family's refusal, receipts. June 9th, funeral, 4 attendees, versus pool party, 85 guests, 47 photos. June 10th to 30th, silence, divorce, isolation. It wasn't emotional. It was just facts, dates, times, numbers, quotes with audio evidence cited. I formatted it like a case report, because that's how I was trained. One excerpt read, June 8, 2024, 8:15 p.m. Final phone call to mother. Request: attend funeral for 1 hour before proceeding to pool party. Response: recorded. It's just a baby, she wouldn't even remember us there. Your brother's milestone matters more. Funeral attendance. June 9th, 0 family members. Pool party attendance. June 9th, both parents, brother, sister-in-law, nephew, posted 47 photos during funeral hours, 2 to 4:52 p.m. I saved it as timeline_Olivia_cross.pdf. 3,891 words. I read it twice. For the first time since June 1st, I didn't feel powerless. I felt clear. I knew exactly what I would do next. I would write. The first draft. July 6th. I started writing. Not a journal, not a vent, a guide. When your family isn't there, navigating grief alone. Chapter 1. The myth of unconditional family love. I wrote about attachment theory, family dynamics, conditional love. 18 pages. Over the next 4 days, I wrote 4 more chapters. On July 11th, I stopped. I realized this guide was too clinical. It needed a story. It needed truth. I deleted everything. I started again. This time, the opening line was different. My name is Jody Cross. I'm a crisis counselor. I've talked 180 people through the worst moments of their lives, but I couldn't talk my own family into attending my daughter's funeral. I wrote for 6 hours straight. When I stopped, the sun was coming up. I had 31 pages. I read them. For the first time since Olivia died, I cried. Not because it hurt, but because I finally had a voice, the title reveal. July 15th, 11:58 p.m. I finished the manuscript. 87 pages. 31,204 words. I needed a title. When Your Family Isn't There sounded like a self-help book. I wanted something personal, honest, raw. I wrote a list of 10 potential titles. I crossed out 9. I chose She Wouldn't Remember, a crisis counselor's journey through grief, abandonment, and finding my voice when my family chose silence. I stared at it for 5 minutes. I knew this would hurt them. I also knew it would heal me. I didn't send it to my family. I didn't need their permission. I just needed a publisher. I knew exactly who to contact. Emma Hartley's sister, Rachel, was a literary agent in New York. I sent Rachel an email at 12:03 a.m., July 16th. Subject line: Manuscript submission, when a crisis counselor becomes the crisis. I attached the file. I pressed send. July 10th, 6 p.m. I almost didn't go to my mother's birthday dinner, but I decided to face them. Garrett's house. 2847 Westlake Drive. My mother opened the door. "Oh, honey, we've missed you." Fake warmth, fake smile. Inside, fancy catering. $850 worth of food. Guests: my father, my mother, Garrett, his wife Jessica, Austin Jr., and 2 extended family members, Uncle Philip and Aunt Diane. Conversations started light. Work, weather, Austin Jr.'s baseball team. At 6:35 p.m., my mother cleared her throat. "Jody, we need to talk about your attitude lately." I looked up. My attitude? My father leaned forward. "You've been distant. You didn't even congratulate your mother on her Facebook posts." My mother added, "Honey, we understand you're grieving, but it's been over a month. You need to move forward. This sadness, it's affecting the whole family." I looked around the table. 8 people, all staring at me, like I was the problem, not them. The intervention Garrett joined in. "Jody, we're worried about you. You're isolating, you're not responding to texts. You sent me 1 text in 30 days to invite me here. See, this is what we mean. You're keeping score." My father said, "Your mother and I think you should see a therapist. This grief is unhealthy." I laughed, sharp, cold. "I am a therapist. a crisis counselor. I know what healthy grief looks like, and I know what abandonment looks like. My mother's voice rose. Abandonment! We didn't abandon you! You chose a pool party over your granddaughter's funeral. Silence. 8 seconds. Jessica looked down, uncomfortable. My father tried to recover. Jody, that's not fair. We had commitments. Garrett spent $18,000 on that party. We couldn't just... And I spent $5,830 to bury my daughter alone. Where's my commitment refund? My mother started to say something. You're being dramatic. It was just a... She stopped. I leaned forward. Just a what, Mom? Just a baby? Say it, like you said on the phone. Her face drained of color. She didn't know I'd recorded it. Garrett stood. Jody, you need to leave. You're ruining Mom's birthday. I stood too. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said, I already left. 5 weeks ago, at the cemetery. Alone. The walk out. I walked toward the door. My mother followed, shouting, Jody Cross, you are embarrassing this family. You need help. I stopped, turned around one last time. I looked at my mother, my father, Garrett. I said calmly, You're right. I do need help. I need help understanding how a family can value a pool party over a funeral, but I figured it out. You can't value what you never saw as human. I walked out. I closed the door behind me. 6:47 p.m. I sat in my car outside the apartment building for 10 minutes before going inside. I checked my email on my phone. One new message. From Rachel Hartley. Subject. Manuscript submission. I opened it. Jody, I read your manuscript in one sitting. I cried 3 times. This is powerful. I want to represent you. Call me. The decision. July 12th. I called Rachel. Your story is what people need, she said. Grief, family dysfunction, the myth of unconditional love. I have 3 publishers in mind. It's going to hurt my family. Is that why you wrote it? I paused. No. I wrote it because 180 people called me for help, and no one helped me. I wrote it so the next person who buries their child alone knows they're not crazy. Then that's your answer. I'll send it out Monday. I agreed. I hung up. I looked at the manuscript file on my laptop. 31,204 words. I thought about Olivia. I thought about the 4 people at her funeral. I thought about 47 Facebook photos. I clicked Send to Rachel Hartley. Done. On July 20th, Rachel called. Bidding war. 2 publishers. Offers, $75,000 from HarperCollins. $95,000 from Simon & Schuster. What do you want to do? Rachel asked. Whoever can publish fastest. Simon & Schuster. 4 months, November release. Do it. November 3rd, 2024. She wouldn't remember hit bookstores. I didn't do a big launch. I just posted 1 photo on Instagram. My professional account. 340 followers, mostly colleagues and clients. The photo. The book cover. Caption. For Olivia, and for everyone who grieves alone. Within 6 hours, 1,200 shares. Comments flooded in. I needed this. This is my story too. Thank you for your bravery. First week. 12,400 copies sold. Rachel called, excited. Jody, you're on track for the bestseller list. On November 5th, I got an email from the Austin American-Statesman. We'd like to interview you about your book and your work as a crisis counselor. Are you available? I stared at the email for 5 minutes. I knew. When this interview came out, my family would know. I replied, Yes, I'm available. The Book Talk Explosion. November 8th, 3:42 p.m. A Book Talk creator, username @ReadsWithRachel, 850,000 followers, posted a video review. She held the book. She was crying. This book destroyed me. It's about a crisis counselor whose family skipped her baby's funeral for a pool party. I can't. I just can't. The video got 2.3 million views in 3 days, 18,600 comments, 43,000 shares. Book sales spiked. Week 2, 38,000 copies. On November 12th, She Wouldn't Remember hit the New York Times bestseller list. Number 7, Nonfiction. Rachel called. You did it! On November 13th, I got a DM on Instagram. From Jessica, Garrett's wife. Jody, I read your book. I'm so sorry. I begged Garrett not to make that choice. I want you to know, I saw you. I'm sorry I didn't speak up. I read it 3 times. I didn't know what I felt. Part grateful, part furious she hadn't said something sooner. I didn't reply right away. I needed to think. The Olivia May Foundation, December 1st, 2024. I launched the Olivia May Foundation, a nonprofit to support single mothers and parents who'd lost infants, especially SIDS cases. Mission: financial assistance for funeral costs, grief counseling, community support. I used $50,000 from my book advance as seed funding. Our first recipient, Maria Gonzalez, 28, single mom, lost her son, 3 months old, to SIDS in October. She couldn't afford the funeral. The foundation covered the full cost, $4,200, plus a $10,000 scholarship for Maria to return to nursing school. At the launch press conference, I stood at the podium. 30 people attended: press, supporters, grief counselors. I said, Olivia lived 42 days. In those 42 days, she taught me what unconditional love looks like. This foundation is my promise to her. Every child, no matter how briefly they lived, deserves to be remembered with dignity. And every parent deserves support, not silence. I looked out at the audience. I saw Emma, Claire, Dr. Brennan. I also saw Nathan, my ex-husband, standing in the back row. He didn't approach. He just nodded. I nodded back. No smile, just acknowledgement. One chapter had closed. The Austin Interview, December 5th. The Austin American-Statesman published a feature article. Headline: Local Crisis Counselor Turns Personal Tragedy into Advocacy. Jody Cross on Grief Family and the Olivia May Foundation. The article included excerpts from my book, a photo of Olivia, the first time she'd been shown publicly. Interview quotes. One key quote. My family told me my daughter wouldn't remember if they attended her funeral. But I'll make sure the world remembers her, not because of how she died, but because of how they responded when she did. The article went viral locally. 8,900 shares in 24 hours. It included the address of Cross Auto Group, my father's dealership chain, because he was the owner. People started Googling Cross Auto Group. They saw the connection. And they started leaving reviews. Google reviews for Cross Auto Group exploded. Sample reviews. Owner skipped his granddaughter's funeral for a pool party. Would you trust someone with those values to sell you a car? 1 star. Read Jody Cross's book, then decide if you want to give this family your money. 1 star. Family business? More like a family that abandons their own. 1 star. In 5 days, 340 new reviews. Mostly 1 star. Overall rating dropped from 4.8 stars to 2.1 stars. My father called me on December 8th. What did you do? I wrote the truth. You're destroying our business. I didn't destroy anything. I just told my story. People drew their own conclusions. On December 10th, my father's business partner, Victor Huang, emailed him. My father forwarded it to me with one line. Are you happy now? Victor's email. Given recent public perception issues, I'm withdrawing from our partnership agreement. Best of luck. The deal was worth $1.2 million. I didn't reply. Garrett's PR crisis. Garrett worked at a tech company called Innovate Solutions, mid-size, 200 employees, values-driven culture. On December 9th, HR called him in. We've received questions from employees about the book. Your name is mentioned. Can you clarify? Garrett admitted the story was true. On December 11th, the CEO, Linda Petrova, met with him. Our company emphasizes family values in our branding. This situation is problematic. We need you to issue a public statement. Garrett refused. On December 12th, internal Slack messages leaked. Employees were discussing, should we employ someone who skipped a baby's funeral? 45 employees participated in the thread. On December 13th, Garrett texted me. We need to talk. This has gone too far. I read it. I didn't reply. Emma asked, are you going to respond? What's there to say? He made his choice. Now he's living with it. Suzanne's social media collapse. On December 6th, strangers found my mother's Facebook through the article. Comments flooded her old pool party posts. You posted this during your granddaughter's funeral. Disgusting. Hashtag blessed grandma, more like hashtag heartless grandma. Celebrating life while your daughter buried hers alone. Shame on you. All 47 posts from June 9th were bombarded with comments. She tried to delete them. They came back. Screenshots were already circulating. She tried to set the posts to private. Too late. On December 10th at 3:17 a.m., she deleted her entire Facebook account. My father called. Your mother is devastated. She can't even go to her book club. People are talking. People talked about me too. When I buried my daughter alone. Where were you then? On December 11th, I got a voicemail from my mother. First direct contact since the July 10th dinner. Her voice was shaking. Jody, I don't know what you want from me. I can't go outside without people staring. Please, can we talk? I listened twice. I saved the voicemail. I didn't call back, not yet. Jessica's private apology. December 14th, 10:30 a.m. Jessica requested to meet me. Coffee shop, neutral ground. Epic Coffee on West 29th Street. She arrived, visibly anxious. I read your book. I'm so sorry, Jody. I begged Garrett not to make you choose. I told him we should go to the funeral first. He said his parents would be upset if we didn't prioritize Austin Jr. Why didn't you come alone? I was afraid. Of Garrett. Of his parents. I know that's not an excuse. She cried. I didn't hug her. I just nodded. I'm separating from family events, she said. I told Garrett, until he apologizes to you, I'm out. Will you ever forgive us? She asked. I paused for a long time. Jessica, I don't know, but I appreciate you being here. That's more than they've done. She nodded. She left. I sat there for another 10 minutes. I thought, one person chose accountability, the other 3 still choosing pride. My father texted, your mother wants to see you. Family lunch, December 22nd, our house. Please come. We need to talk. I didn't reply right away. On December 21st, my mother called. First call since the voicemail on December 11th. I answered. Jody, please. Let's sit down like adults. This has gotten out of hand. What's gotten out of hand? My grief. Or your consequences. People are attacking us. Your father's business is suffering. Garrett might lose his job. This isn't what you wanted, is it? What I wanted was my family at my daughter's funeral. What I got was 47 Facebook posts. Silence. Then she said, Jody, please, let's move past this, for family. I took a breath. You told me Olivia wouldn't remember if you were there. Pause. You were right. Pause. But the world will remember you weren't. 8 seconds of silence. And unlike Olivia, Mom, the world doesn't forget. She whispered. That's cruel. No, cruel was choosing a pool party. This is just memory. Will you come to lunch? No. I don't think I will. I hung up. I didn't block her number. But I didn't answer the next time she called either. I'd said everything I needed to say. Christmas alone, but not lonely, December 25th, 2024. The first Christmas without Olivia. I didn't go to my family's house, obviously. But I didn't sit at home crying either. I volunteered at the Austin Grief Support Center. I facilitated a group session for 8 people who'd lost loved ones during the year, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. A man named David, 41, lost his wife to cancer in September, said, "I read your book. It helped me realize I'm not weak for struggling." You're not weak. You're human. After the session, I went to Emma's house for dinner with her family. It was the first time I'd celebrated a holiday with my chosen family. When I got home at 9:30 p.m., I checked my phone. One text, from Nathan. "Merry Christmas, Jody. I'm sorry for everything. I hope you're okay." I looked at the message. I didn't reply. But I didn't delete it either. I just acknowledged it. A piece of the past had spoken. But the past didn't define me anymore. The #1 bestseller and Foundation Impact, January 10th, 2025. She Wouldn't Remember hit #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. Nonfiction. Rachel called, ecstatic. "You did it, Jody! #1! I didn't scream. I just whispered, "Olivia, we did it." By January 10th, the book had sold 127,000 copies. Foundation Impact by January 2025. 12 families helped with funeral costs. $63,000 distributed. 3 scholarships for parents returning to school. Partnerships with 8 hospitals offering free grief counseling. I hired a part-time coordinator, Angela, the woman from my first call back at work in June. She said, "You saved my life on that phone call. Now I get to help you save others. This is full circle, Jody." On January 15th, I received a letter in the mail, handwritten, postmarked Austin, no return address. I opened it. It was from my father, 2 pages, the letter from Dad. The letter said, "Jody, I don't know if you'll read this, but I need to say it. I was wrong. I prioritized the wrong things. I told myself Garrett's success mattered more because it was visible. Your grief was invisible to me. I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know. I see it now. I see what we did to you. Your mother is struggling. She won't admit it, but she cries at night. She knows. We both know. I'm proud of your book. I'm proud of the foundation. I'm ashamed I wasn't there for Olivia. Or you. I love you. I always have. I just showed it terribly. Dad." I read it 3 times. I didn't cry. I folded the letter. I put it in a desk drawer. I didn't reply. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I kept it. That night I wrote in my journal. Entry 287. Dad wrote. He apologized. It doesn't undo what happened, but it's something. I don't know if I'll forgive them. I don't even know what forgiveness looks like here, but I know this. I don't need their validation anymore. I have Olivia's memory. I have my work. I have my voice. That's enough. Olivia's headstone and Jody's new beginning. February 9th, 2025. 8 months since Olivia died. The permanent headstone was installed. I went to the cemetery at 9 a.m. Emma came with me. The headstone was white marble. Simple. Beautiful. The inscription read, "Olivia May Cross, April 18th to June 1st, 2024. You are my sunshine, forever loved, forever remembered." I placed yellow roses on the grave, the color of the ducks on Olivia's onesie. I sat for 20 minutes. I didn't cry, I just talked to her. "I kept my promise, baby. The world knows you. They'll never forget you." My life had changed. I'd been promoted to Director of Crisis Services at the Austin Suicide Prevention Center, January 2025. Leadership role. Salary increase. I moved to a new apartment, 1 bedroom, North Loop, natural light, plants, no crib to trigger me. I started dating. Slowly. I met someone. Philip Torres, an architect, 34, through a friend in December. Coffee dates, taking it slow, no rush. My relationship with my family, minimal. I'd acknowledged my father's letter, but I hadn't answered. My mother hadn't reached out since December 21st. Garrett was silent. Jessica texted occasionally. Cordial. I had a book tour scheduled. February to March 2025. 8 cities. Talks about grief and family estrangement. I stood at Olivia's grave. I looked at the headstone one last time. I felt peace. Not because everything was fixed, but because I didn't need it to be fixed. Olivia was gone. But her legacy was alive. In the book, in the foundation, in the 127,000 people who'd read her story. That was enough. The final beat. 6 months later, August 2025. 14 months since Olivia died. I was at the foundation office meeting with family number 18, a young couple, Sarah and Tom, who'd just lost twins, stillborn. 36 weeks. I listened. I didn't judge. I didn't rush. I was just present. After the meeting, Sarah hugged me. Thank you. No one else understood. I understand, and you're not alone. That evening, I went home. Philip cooked dinner. We ate, talked about our day. Normal. Peaceful. My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. Book just hit 200,000 sales. Movie rights inquiry from Netflix. Interested? I smiled. I texted back. Let's talk. Before bed, I opened my laptop. I wrote journal entry, 287. Day 434 without Olivia, but not day 434 without purpose. Her story is helping people. The foundation is growing. I'm okay. Not healed, but okay. And that's more than I thought possible on June 1st, 2024. I closed the laptop. I looked at the photo on my nightstand. The only one I had of Olivia. The ultrasound at 20 weeks. I whispered, "Good night, sunshine." I turned off the light. My family told me Olivia was just a baby. That she wouldn't remember if they were there. They were right about one thing. Olivia doesn't remember. But I do. The world does. And every family I help through the foundation does. They wanted me to forget. Instead, I made sure no one ever could. The Olivia May Foundation has helped 24 families as of February 2026. To learn more or donate, visit oliviamayfoundation.org. In memory of all the babies who left too soon, and all the parents who grieve alone.